The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 766. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap-Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is a Burnout Recovery Coach and also the host of the Good Curves podcast, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Cari Li. Cari, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more by yourself to the listeners.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me on here. Absolutely love what you're doing with this podcast, and confidence is huge. And I basically help women all over the world. So I do this virtually. I help them go from a place of extreme fatigue and into fitness, just because working out and fitness, nutrition, all that is a little different for people who are burnt out. And oftentimes what happens is they get started in a program that's really for someone who isn't at that kind of fitness level, and it burns them out further, and that's the cycle that I'm trying to avoid. So that's basically what I do.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Cari, what's your cultural background?
I'm born and raised in Singapore, but my dad is from Ohio, so he's Caucasian, and my mom is Chinese Singaporean. And so I was raised there and came over to the United States for college at 16, which is when we finished high school. And so I went from being like the white girl in a Chinese school to the Chinese girl in a white school very quickly. And that was something that actually really made me question like who I was growing up.
Thanks for sharing that. And Cari, what'd be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Man, my favorite self-confidence quote. Honestly, I don't see confidence as just this thing. I see it in action a lot. So to me, action over perfection is what speaks confidence to me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally. I always say like when it comes to confidence, it's all about taking action. And, they have that saying, ready, aim, fire, but it's really ready, fire, aim. So, because you're just course correcting along the way, because the first time we do something, it's not going to be the right way, right? Or we suck at it, or it's not perfect, right? But the more we keep doing it, the better we become, and practice, becomes progression, and we just get better at it. So I really like that short but sweet quote that you mentioned. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
So really for me, when I have clarity, I have confidence. Like when I know the direction that I'm supposed to be heading, when I know what I need to do to get there. And when I say I know what I'm doing to get there, I don't know all of the how, because like in business, like you don't always know, like you might know how to get from 5 to 6 figures. And if you haven't reached 7, like you don't know the 6 to 7 yet, but you know you're heading in that direction. So I at least know a few steps ahead of where I'm going and how. And that, being clear on that and being able to focus on that gives me a lot of confidence. There's not a lot of distraction that comes into place. There's not a lot of me running around and getting no results. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you're going to have to try things. Yes, you're going to have to fail. I'm okay with failure. I learn from the failure. But as long as I stay clear on the direction I'm heading, pretty confident about it. Does that make sense for the definition, at least to me?
Thanks for sharing that. And, I think having clarity is huge when it comes to confidence, because when you know what you're doing, nothing's going to matter. Like even like you mentioned, if you don't have it all figured out, you have the confidence to figure it out along the way. So I think that was a great definition that you mentioned. And Cari, what was your life like before you discovered self-confidence?
Yeah, so honestly, my burnout is what is probably the best thing that happened to me. So I burned out when I was 25. I was a personal trainer, and I was really just trying to be the best trainer I could be. And that meant really having no boundaries with time. I wasn't smart enough to, get my rest. I was still trying to be this fitness professional who had to look and live a certain way. And so, without enough rest and with being really strict on nutrition, really training way more than I should have been training, I completely burned out to a state of where like I couldn't even stand up for 20 minutes at a time, or else everything from my neck, my shoulders up actually would cramp. I just had a whole list of hormonal issues. So like gained 30 pounds, no clue where it came from because I was eating at a deficit. I basically became menopausal at 25. So hot flashes, losing my hair, skin issues, insane cravings kicked in. And I just really couldn't pull myself off the bed. Like one morning I just woke up, I was just tearing because I was so tired. And I was like, this isn't right. Like, I'm not doing anything right. And my confidence at that time was extremely low because everything that I had been doing was really just externally driven. And so it wasn't until that moment, that morning when I was crying, waking up, I called off the rest of my week and was like, I need to just sit and think and figure this out. And so a lot happened during that time. And that's when I made that realization that everything that I was doing was externally driven. It was very superficial. And so I decided, okay, what do I really want? Outside of societal pressures, outside of my parents' expectations and all this other stuff, what did me, Cari, essentially want out of life? What kind of life did I want? What kind of person did I want to be? And today, I mean, I am 1,000 times more clear about who that person is compared to like when I think back to that moment. But it was a start, and it was a start that led me in the right direction. And as I, it was shaky, like it was scary to actually, for the first time, truly be me in everything. But as I took one step after another, making one decision after another to be as true to myself as possible, the confidence came with that. And I just became more and more sure of myself. So that would be my big aha moment.
Thanks for sharing that. And, I'm glad you're able to share this because, I think we all feel that burnout, right? And, I think sometimes it's how we're brought up. We always have to overdo everything, like just overdo everything because it's like, that's what we're supposed to do. We just have to keep going above and beyond. And we sacrifice our health in the process, right? Like you mentioned, you're a personal trainer, but at that time you were still gaining weight and you didn't know what was happening. And sometimes we can't explain it. Sometimes it could just be stress from constantly, doing that hustle, right? And then we keep hustling and hustling to the point where we don't even know what we're doing half the time. We're just running around, aimlessly. And, I'm glad you're able to figure that out and really sit down and look at yourself and look at what you want, like what you truly want versus what everyone else wants you to do. And I think a lot of women suffer through this, right? Especially trying to just constantly going to the next level, not realizing who they are is just more than enough. And, I'm glad you were able to see you are more than enough. You can go out there and be who you are today and help others in the process. And because of that, like you mentioned, you have more clarity than you ever had before. And to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in a similar journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
Yeah. So as you were saying all that, I was just thinking back of how, the Asian culture, and I was a gymnast in Singapore. And so my coaches were from China. And if you know anything about gymnastics and how China coaches train, it's pretty extreme. And so I was always just so focused on doing what I was being told. And when you are constantly doing something that someone else is telling you to do and they are requiring perfection, there's not much room for confidence to grow in that. There just really isn't. And so I don't, I've told you this, but I don't really call myself a very confident woman. I don't actually see myself that way, but I do every day show up and test my own confidence. And so I still have anxiety when I post something on social media, but I'll put myself out there anyways. I still will take the risks that I need to take in business. And I still get scared of it, but I do it anyways. And something I'm extremely confident in is coaching. And that's just something I've done for so many years. I've honestly been doing it for over 15 years at this point. And so that's something I feel very confident in, but that's because I'm very competent in it, right? And so if I were to see someone and we were to talk about confidence, I would say the true test is really to show up for yourself every day, do the things that, you're clear that you should be doing. And even though they're scary, you do it anyways. And that's how you build confidence, by showing up for yourself and just placing yourself in these uncomfortable positions that you really should be in. Because I'm sure every woman that I've coached, a lot of them come in and say they're lazy. I'm like, you're not lazy. You're just tired and you don't have direction. And so I know your listeners, a lot of them are ladies, and y'all aren't tired. Y'all aren't lazy. You're just tired and you need a little direction. And if you show up for yourself, your confidence will just keep growing and growing, and you will put yourself in new uncomfortable positions and get to new places you never even thought you could go.
Thanks for sharing that great tip. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do and check out some of your work, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at Cari_Li. So it's CARI_LI. And I do have the Good Curves podcast, so you can check me out there as well. But, I'm more than happy to give any of your listeners just a free fitness audit where we get on the phone. And if they are in a state of burnout, I'd love to just help them tweak a few things that they're already doing in their lifestyle to start getting them heading in the right direction energetically and in fitness.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Cari, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Cari's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Cari today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Cari.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Get your free self-talk tape for building self-confidence by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.